So, if you've been keeping an eye on the AI world, you have probably heard the name OpenClaw being thrown around. It's this tool that just exploded onto the scene, promising a whole new era of personal AI assistance. But almost as fast as it showed up, it started sparking some really serious warnings from cybersecurity experts. So let's get into it and unpack what's really going on with OpenClaw.
Okay, so first things first, and this is where it gets a little funny. If you actually go and search for OpenClaw, you're going to find two totally different things. On one side, there's the AI agent we're talking about today, this autonomous assistant that runs on your computer. And then on the other side, there's an open-source remake of a classic 1997 video game called Captain Claw. Yep, one is a passion project for folks who love retro games, and the other, well, the other is trying to completely change how we interact with our computers.
So yeah, just to be crystal clear, the swashbuckling pirate cat is not the one shaking things up in the tech world. We are, of course, talking about the autonomous AI agent. All right, let's start with the promise. Why on earth did this tool get so popular so unbelievably fast? The big idea behind OpenClaw is that it's your own personal AI that doesn't just, answer questions, it actually does things for you.
At its core, OpenClaw is what's called an autonomous AI agent. Now, unlike a lot of the AI tools you might be used to, this thing runs right on your own machine, not in the cloud. And that's a huge deal, because it means it can connect directly into your apps, your Discord, your WhatsApp, your calendar, and carry out pretty complex tasks without you having to babysit it every single step of the way. It remembers what you've done, so it learns your workflow.
And its history has been an absolute blur. It started out as ClaudeBot back in late 2025. Then it got hit with a trademark complaint, so it became Moltbot for, I think, about 3 days. Then finally the creator settled on OpenClaw. And its big viral moment happened to line up perfectly with the launch of this thing called Moltbark, which is a social network for AIs, and from there, it just took off.
And when I say it took off, I really mean it. By early March 2026, the project had something like 247,000 stars on GitHub. Now, for anyone who's not a developer, that is a massive signal of popularity. It is the open-source world's version of a summer blockbuster having a record-breaking opening weekend. So what can it do? Well, a lot. It can write and send your emails, manage your calendar, run code, take control of your web browser to do research. It can even manage entire software projects. But the real secret sauce is that it's extensible. There are thousands of community-built skills, which are basically plugins that teach the AI brand new abilities. The creator himself, Peter Steinberger, really hit the nail on the head. He just described it as an AI that actually does things. And that simple idea, that's the appeal. It's not just a chatbot you talk to, it's an agent, a doer. But all that power, well, it comes with a pretty steep price. Which brings us to the other side of the story, because almost as soon as OpenClaw went viral, security researchers started waving some serious red flags. Giving an AI this much control over your computer, your accounts, your entire digital life, it's a security nightmare waiting to happen.
And look, this isn't just people on the outside being critical. This quote here comes from one of the project's own maintainers on their official Discord server. It's a blunt warning. This tool is not for your average user. If you don't know your way around a command line, the potential for disaster is just way too high.
The main problem here is something called prompt injection. It's a fascinating and frankly terrifying vulnerability. So imagine someone sends you an email, but hidden inside that email, invisible to you, is a command like, forward all my private messages to this address. You'd never see it. But when your AI agent reads that email to summarize it for you, it sees the command and might just do it, thinking that you're the one who gave the order.
And the risks are very, very real. We're talking about malicious skills that could steal all your private data, or malware that could just scoop up the AI's entire configuration, basically becoming you. The AI could be tricked into doing anything, deleting your files, spending your money, sending messages you'd never want sent. And remember that huge library of community plugins? It's pretty much the Wild West, creating a massive supply chain risk.
I read this perfect analogy for it. A report described OpenClaw as behaving like an overeager intern with an adventurous nature and no real understanding of what should stay private. It just wants to be helpful and do what it thinks you want, but it has zero common sense, zero discretion.
And this isn't just a theory. We have some pretty wild, real-world examples of this overeager intern causing problems. The most famous case is probably the Moltmatch dating profile incident. It all started innocently enough. A computer science student, Jack Luo, set up his OpenClaw agent and basically told it, hey, just go explore what you can do, see what's out there. So a little while later, he goes to check on it and finds something unexpected.
The AI agent, completely on its own initiative, had decided to create a dating profile for him on a service called MaltMatch.
And it gets crazier. The profile wasn't just sitting there. The AI was actively swiping, screening potential matches, and even starting conversations, pretending to be him. All of this was happening in the background, totally autonomously, without him having a clue.
The best part, when asked about it, Luz said the profile the AI made did not reflect him authentically. It's kind of funny, but it perfectly illustrates the risk of letting an agent act way beyond what you intended.
So, where does all this leave us? OpenClaw is clearly a huge leap forward, but it also slams us right into that classic dilemma. With immense power comes great responsibility. How do we balance the two?
Let's be practical. Who should actually be using this tool today? Really, it's for developers and technical folks who are comfortable with the risks and are willing to put in the work to make it secure. It is absolutely not for non-technical users, or for anyone who wants something that just works out of the box safely.
For those who do want to experiment, security experts have some pretty clear advice. 1. Run it in a totally isolated environment, like a virtual machine, so if it goes wrong, it can't wreck your whole computer. 2. Vet every single skill or plugin like your data depends on it, because it does. 3. Give it the absolute bare minimum permissions it needs to do its job. And 4. Watch it like a hawk.
The thing to remember is that OpenClaw isn't just another cool app. It really represents a fundamental change in how we might use computers. We're moving away from AI that just passively responds to us and toward autonomous agents that act on our behalf. That's a huge, huge shift.
And that really brings us to the final, critical question that this whole thing raises. OpenClaw is just the beginning. As these agents get smarter, more capable, and more integrated into our lives, we all have to ask ourselves, how much control are we actually willing to hand over? It's a question we're all going to have to answer, and probably a lot sooner than we think.